Hey, this is Terry Bain with another exciting episode of Business Growth Time. This is episode number 53. Thank you so much for joining us. With me, as always, my good friend Janet E. Johnson. I think today the E stands for every day. What do you think of that?
Every day, all
Every
right.
day, man.
Every
Oh,
day, everything, every day, yes.
everything, every day. How are you?
Good, good. How are you doing? The sun is shining. We can't complain. It's beautiful outside. It's just, we were complaining, when we started this show together, you and I, it was cold, blustery snow for both of us. So now we're hitting spring in Minnesota and Michigan, where you are. And it's nice to have nice weather.
I was telling you before we got on air that I was working outside today, not like doing yard work, but literally making my calls, sitting down by the fire pit and just hanging out there mostly because I could, and I enjoyed that.
I do that sometimes too, just to kind of roast, obviously in your office, you kind of have your specific things, but it's nice to just kind of rotate and change the scenery,
Absolutely.
It's hard to stay at the computer in the sun. That's the only problem, but.
Or have scenery, which is nice. I don't know about your office, but I mean, I've got pictures of scenery, and you might be able to see them behind my head. But there's a gray wall like 4 feet in front of me. It's a lovely shade of gray, but it's still gray.
Yeah, and I can see outside, but I can only see the bottom of the deck. So it's kind of not really the most thrilling, view and that kind of thing. But, and it does make a difference, though, if. Let's get on the subject for 1 minute. It does make a difference if you work for yourself. And no matter, even if you work in an office, if you have something that brings a little warmth and brings a little energy, it's already down, but I have a candle. And it's actually a rejuvenating candle that I light some days when I'm just like, oh, I'm tired. So if you can do things that it's going to get that provide you more energy, it's going to make you be more motivated to work, correct?
Absolutely. It's funny. I've got a windowsill that's right next to the gray wall, so 3.5 feet from me. And as I look out I can see a little bit of sky, but mostly I'm seeing the bottom of a deck. And in front of that windowsill, I've got 2 candles. Both of them are, half burnt. Or half not burnt, depending on if I'm optimistic or pessimistic, I guess. And so now they're half not burnt is what I'm going to go with. But that's funny. You definitely need to have something that makes it feel like there's energy coming to you and through you, so you can keep doing what you got to do.
Exactly. Because I kind of call this my dungeon, because it's down in the basement and it's cold and it's a little bit, the spiders come out once in a while, and it's a dungeon type thing, and so you want to warm it up somehow so that you want to be in there. And so that's what I tend to do. I thought, a candle's perfect, and I also have a bling that just dropped on the floor, but a bling stapler, so nice. Have a little light bling behind me, you got so you want to work, and some people can't have candles, but you know what? There's fake candles too if you're in an office atmosphere. But just something that warms you so that you're motivated and want to work throughout the day, because you have to sit for a long time.
Is that a bling line stapler? You remember the red swing line stapler? I want to know if you have a bling line.
Yeah. No, it's straight up here. Hold on.
You're going to have homework. You're going to have to watch Office Space now.
See?
Oh, wow.
Isn't that fancy? That is my one fancy item. So, yes, it is bling. I probably just had a couple fall off when it fell on the floor. Now, I am wearing a special shirt, so I'm going to show you. Okay. And I know you'll get a kick out of this. And then we're going to get into the networking area. But I thought everybody would get a kick out of this. But I don't know how far back I have to go, and I'm connecting. Okay, there you go.
Nice. Nice. You should put that in the 1 million selfie project. That would be perfect.
I do have pictures with that on. Yeah.
That would be perfect. Chaz would love that.
Yeah, believe in your hashtag selfie. I think it's and I do a whole bunch of these shirts, and I sell them. So people can buy them. I just, I don't even know this one. I think they can find tjohnson.com/SOC4. So you can get this one. I know it's random. I need to get them all on my website. I haven't done it yet. So So that will happen. And we have a lot of fun social media ones. This is just one I wanted myself, but I have created a bunch of fun little social media ones, some that are TBT, hashtag Throwback Thursday. People can create their own hashtag shirts and stuff like that. So it's just a fun little thing I do on the side.
Nice. Everybody got to have a hustle, and then another hustle, and then a side hustle.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So let's talk about our main subject today is on networking to other business owners, because, well, you're kind of the king of it from what I believe, I think. And I haven't seen you in your mode because I don't live in the same state, which would be fun because we've never actually been in an event together. But I can, just hearing from other people and hearing from what you've built in Detroit, I know that you're always out there meeting people and connecting with people. And so I'm sure the first thing that you do, Terry, is you go up and you just sell yourself, right?
Sell myself, man. Hey, I rope open the jacket, get it open. You got to need a toothbrush. You want a hair dryer. I got some undergarments right here. Come on, whatever you need, I am your man. Got it. No, that's a great segue. So networking in very simple terms to me is about what you can do for me, what I can do for you, and most importantly, what we can do together. And that becomes a real key element. And a lot of people, I was having this conversation earlier, as a young man that's going to start doing the Jeffrey Gitomer coaching. And he was calling me today saying, I'm going to get in this business. I've been doing orthopedic surgery sales for years. I really don't even know where to start. And I'm like, well, here's where you start. Figure out what you're looking for. Who are your target clients? Who are the people that are going to absolutely be the best people for you to work with? Then think about who's selling to them, who's working with them. Those are your target partners. When you understand those two things, it becomes imperative that you put the right messaging together that's going to speak to them. And once you have who you're looking for, what you're going to say to them when you find them, then you work on where are they, right? Whether it's industry associations, whether it's specific networking events that cater to them, whether it's online and social media groups, LinkedIn or Facebook groups are great, but you've got to get to where they are. If you're just running around networking at open events, you're going to find it a very tiring process. Your messaging has got to be tight. Your idea of who you're looking for has got to be tight. And then you've got to have the ability to talk and convey what you're looking for to people. And we'll talk more about the ask, as I call it, in just a few minutes.
I like that concept. And I believe what you're saying in the niche, finding who you're talking to. And I think I forget even sometimes, who am I talking to? Obviously, I'm talking to a business owner, but you need to be narrowing that down deeper than just a generic business owner. I know a lot of people have gone out and they go to those networking events and they say, I'm looking for anyone who. That's really broad, right?
It's really broad.
So, I work with a dentist and he's had to narrow us down a little bit. He says, I look for anybody who has teeth. Well, I suppose he does, but there's narrowing that in a little more. Well, do you like working with kids? Do you like working with adults? Which would you prefer? Yes, you can take anybody with teeth, but what would be your preference?
So I talked about this as you want to own spot one in people's mental Rolodex. That's your idea. Whatever your business category is, you want to be the first person they think of when they hear an opportunity for you. Because before, people used to go to the yellow pages, right? Now they go to Google. But in either scenario, before they go to either one of those places, they go right here. And if they don't have a connection right here, that's when they go outside. So you need to own spot one in that mental Rolodex. And when you're asking for anyone who has teeth, or there was a group that did skincare products, anyone with hair and skin, I won't name them. It used to drive me nuts, because the moment you start asking for anyone, that actually ends up being everyone. what you're doing is you're shutting your network's ability to flip through their mental Rolodex to pull out their card for you, right? If you're
Yes.
overloading what I'm thinking about and who I can pull out for you, I can't pull anyone out for you. It's counterintuitive, but the more specific the person you are asking for is, the better off you're going to be.
I think that's, yeah. And I think most people have a hard time doing that. When I set up a strategy, I worked with a gal that out in Australia, and we specifically set up a whole entire strategy first for all the internet marketing, social media campaign. And she was similar kind of product that you're talking about, the skincare. But she knew, I mean, we narrowed down her target market to women over the age of 50 that had gone through cancer. I mean, you're talking narrow market, but that's actually better.
It's
So
much better.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's counterintuitive, right? Because you're thinking, oh my God, I've only got one opportunity to make this ask and make this request. I'm going to ruin it if I get too narrow and no one knows anybody. Wrong. Yes. And here's why it's wrong. Because every single one of us that's ever been to a networking event, that's in a BNI or whatever local networking group you have, we've all made general and broad requests. We've gotten leads from people who weren't our ideal client. There's nothing worse than tracking down people who are never going to do business with you. It is a complete and utter waste of their time, your time, and the person who referred you's relationship capital, right? So you're doing yourself, the potential prospect or client, and the referrer a disservice by being so broad and generic.
That is a great point. And nobody wants to waste time. We're all here to make money and get leads, and that's a lot of the reason, and provide leads to others. So you want to be able to give back, give back, and that kind of thing, and you will receive. And that's kind of how those groups work. Now, as we've discussed, I'm not part of that anymore, but I get out to like some meetups once in a while and that kind of thing. But I tend to do a lot of mine through the internet, and that's how a lot of businesses work. But you know what? Even with Facebook ads, I just am launching. Well, by the time this comes out, 15 Minute Social is launched by the time this comes out. So that target market, it's a kind of a back to the basics social media. So I now am going to run Facebook ads. So you still need to know your niche market, even if it's online. Because the Facebook ads, I need to know what specifically, who exactly am I going to target for this specific product. So,
absolutely.
Very similar thing.
And that's such a key. So let's dial in on that for a little bit, because maybe not everybody knows how to figure out who their target client is. Depending on where you are in the evolution of your business, if you're just starting, right, the way business works when you start out as an entrepreneur, you've got this thing that you're passionate about, you're excited about, you're good at, and somebody at one point said, oh shit, I'd pay you for that. So you're like, woohoo, I'm in business. And that's great. The trap of entrepreneurship is you're always looking at, how do I make more money? If you do a really good job at what you did, then your client's going to say, oh my gosh, you knocked it out of the park. Thank you. Do you do this? And invariably, you're going to say, well, of course I do that. I'm years. You've never done it in your entire life. Let's be honest. You barely know how to Google it because you can't even spell it. But yeah, I do that stuff. Sure, I was doing that yesterday.
I used to be like that years ago. Now I kind of go, nope, that person does it.
Yeah, I've said yes to some things that were definite no's for me. Check, no.
Yep. I'm like,
red
why
pen.
did I do this? Yep.
and you shouldn't have said yes, but you're gonna say yes.
Yep.
Because you're gonna say yes because your spouse is saying, hey, we got these bills to pay, and you said you could handle it. Handle it.
Yep.
So you say yes.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you figure it out because you're competent and you have the ability and the resources to get it done, and you do it. And your client says, wow, you did a great job. And they refer you to somebody for that. Not the thing you love, not the reason you got into business, but you got referred for that. And you're like, well, I need the money. I'm going to do it. And that client asks you to do something similar too. So you're expanding your skill set concentrically out, and it's building, and your line card and your offerings getting huge. And you've got all these different things now that you can do because you keep saying yes. The challenge is you're not great or overly proficient, and most importantly, not in love with any of them. Imagine the scenario when you say, no, I don't do that. But my friend Janet is fantastic at that. Can I introduce you? Yeah, that would be great. I'd love to work with Janet. If you say they're good, they're good. Now, Janet's got some new opportunity that she's working on and delivering. When Janet's out and here's a good opportunity for you, she's going to refer you too. You are building relationships and strategic partners that are based on the ability to grow business together. You are creating additional sales channels by giving referrals out. It's an important element, an important aspect. And most importantly, you are loving what you do because you're focused in on your sweet spot.
It's a great point. I agree. And that's, I think a lot of people have evolved their business, and you're right, especially when you start, you think you can do it just all. And so when you're new and oh, sure, yeah, I can't miss a client. I need to do that. I mean, I took on some giant SEO projects in the past. And granted, SEO, but then it changed. Google kept changing.
Oh, yeah.
Social media kept changing. So I'm like going in all these directions, and I thought, I can't do it all. You know, I can't do the graphics. I can't do the SEO, the website building. Now, granted, do I know pretty much all of it? Yes. But do I do this specifically for clients? No, I have a strategic partner, like you said, for SEO specifically. Now, do I know SEO enough to be dangerous? Yes. But I do it more through video. So that's my video SEO is kind of what I do. So I completely get what you're saying where, you know what, now that SEO person will think of me for social media. Does that make sense? So it's exactly what you said. It's about staying in what you really like to do. Because in all honesty, I hated chasing the Google algorithm, you know? And
absolutely. There's other people that love it, right? They love it. Can't stand making social media posts for anybody, but love the SEO and the algorithm and dealing with that. You know, I'm like you. I know SEO well enough to impact my own SEO, right? That's about my level of SEO knowledge. I know how to game it enough, but I'm not ready to take someone's money to do it for them, right? I've got business partners that do that. You don't, if I'm telling you I'm going to do your SEO, one of us isn't going to be very happy, and it's really more likely that neither one of us are going to be real happy about it.
That makes
and at
sense.
the end of the day, happy clients are the best clients.
And I also think you need to know who you want to work with, because it's funny because if somebody asks me, you know, what types of business do you like to work with? I can come up with the list that I do not want to work with immediately. And I think you know the types of businesses that you do not want to work with. Like I'll tell you one business, and you learn over time on what you want to do if it's the businesses that you work with. There's certain types of business, and you're going to laugh at this because I know you were in this industry. I do not take on auto dealerships. No way do I want to work with automotive people. I think they're pompous typically, and they're sorry, automotive people, but you know, it's just one of those types.
We just lost like 3 subscribers. Thanks. That was Janet E. Johnson saying that, just for the record. I didn't even nod or nothing.
So it's just something that I have worked with a few, you know, auto dealerships, some larger ones in the past, years and years ago. And I just said, never again. I won't do it. And so you need to know what you want, but you also need to know what you do not want.
And that's an easier way sometimes to find what you want, right? Because if you don't have the experience, how often, think about when you were a kid, think about it when you're in college, think about it as you've grown up. It doesn't matter how many times someone tells you you're not going to like this until you find out for yourself that you're not going to like it. You think they're wrong. right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have that experience. You're like, oh yeah, I'm definitely wrong. So let's get back to finding that target client.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that you are going to resonate with, that you're going to enjoy spending time with. That to me, if I don't enjoy spending
Mm-hmm.
time with you, or if it's not going to seem like fun, I'm out. I'm out right now, because if we're going to spend a bunch of time and energy together, it's got to be a good time, and I've got to enjoy it. You know, I have friends that call it the no asshole rule. Not going to work with anybody that I think is that. And
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. I like that rule.
Yeah.
Number two, and unfortunately, you don't get a real good way to gauge this until it actually happens, but they have to pay you on time, right? So
Mm-hmm.
getting paid in a timely fashion makes for real good clients. We like those people.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, there's got to be some opportunity to build and to do more. Single projects are nice, but if you're going to be out there doing single project here and a single project there, your business development cycle, your ability to find new opportunities is going to be, it's going to be a painful experience. Because
Yeah.
what happens, especially if you're a solopreneur, you got to go sell the work, and then you've got to do the work. And it's really hard to be selling work while you're doing work. One of them's going to suffer. And invariably end up going, well, crap, I don't have anything in the funnel because I've been doing delivery. So
Exactly.
you want to
Mm-hmm.
try and find people that have multiple projects to work on that are a fit for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's important to find people that are willing to refer you. And I always set that referral process up in the beginning, like before we even close business. Hey, we're going to agree. I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And if you love it, I'm going to want you to think of 3 or 4 people who are in a position similar to you that's going to be cool with doing some work with me in the future. Does that make sense? They say, oh, yeah, of course. Whether they actually do it or not and get the referral, totally different story. But
Sure.
set it up in advance. So those are some of the key things that I look for when taking on new clients. Anything that you would add to that?
I agree completely with what you just said. The residual piece, ongoing piece, if you can find something that is continuation, it depends on your business too. If it's an orthodontist office, let's just use that as an example. They have obviously a one-time thing, one-time item, but they might have a brother or sister. They have the family member. My whole family has had the braces and the Invisalign and all that. So, they got 4 with us. So, and the little one isn't there yet, but it's not an ongoing product though. And they don't really have anything else to offer. So
right. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So it depends on the business. I look at
That's a good point.
my business. Yeah, entrepreneurial, like our business. Like if you look at mine, I could do a website, but I don't want to. It's a one-time shot. And I just, I've kind of steered away from that. But if it's ongoing social media help, I've worked with Learning RX for 3 years now. And well, I help them all over online. I mean, whether it's video marketing or Facebook marketing or, ongoing social media, I help them with their Facebook ads. Just across the board, they're seen 10 times better because we do ongoing things with them. So I don't have to, I've had a lot of those long-term clients that I help them, with their social media, whatever it may be. If you're a social media person like myself, it's better to take on somebody that's going to need ongoing social media help versus just a one-time setup. Because like you said, you're always going to have to find things. And, and that's kind of why, the t-shirt thing, and I'm doing a few other projects that they're online and they're more ongoing. Like I built a program called 15 Minute Social. Now that program can be sold, as long as it's updated for over and over and over and over again to different people where I don't have to do the work. So if anybody that can build programs or do stuff like that, that is the thing to be doing so that they're creating the residual. If a membership program would be the best thing, it's just harder to get people in that funnel to commit to a monthly fee, with the membership program. So you really have to have it. But if you're niched enough and you have that target market, that's a fantastic way to make an income, and you can help people in the meantime doing that, you know, where you're teaching them, training them. Let's say you're a dog trainer. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there, but you know, there's a lot of people that love their dogs, and you know, specific, and even if you can niche it down to a specific dog that you're training, and you get this group together that, hey, there's people out there that are willing to pay specifically for that. So lots of ways to make income online and offline. So now let's get back to finishing up the last, we have about 5 minutes of time left. I want you to talk about the pitch. What is the pitch? When you go out to a networking event, what is the pitch?
So we call it the ask, and I coined that phrase years ago because I don't like elevator pitches from an ideal standpoint. I've never done a lot of networking in an elevator. We don't host meetings there. I've never seen a meeting in an elevator. That just didn't make sense. On the flip side, the 60-second commercial, 60 seconds is a painful long time. And it's even longer because most people have no idea how long 60 seconds really is. So if you're listening to a 60-second commercial that goes on for 2 minutes, it's like, punch me in the face right now. So the ask is something that's really straight up. It's concise, it's specific, it's to the point, and it just drives at the heart of the matter. And what it's there for is to allow the right people to show up, right? If you put it out there the right way, you can actually see a visceral response for people who have the answer for you. I look at networking, and when you rotate around the room with your 60-second commercial or whatever, it's realistically, we're playing the game of fish. Remember the card game you played with your kids? Hey, let's go play Go Fish. That's all you're doing. Do you have an 8? Yes or no? Do you have a CPA? Yes or no? Right? And so when you do your ask, it's very simple. It contains your name, your business name, your business category, and then who's the one person or one company or one idea that if someone in the room could connect you to right now would absolutely make your week. So my name's Terry Bean. I'm with Networked Inc. I do business development consulting for small to medium-sized businesses. I'm looking to meet the VP of sales for Meadowbrook Insurance. And I would say the VP of sales for Meadowbrook Insurance. And if I knew his name, Tom Harmon, I would say I'm looking to meet Tom Harmon, who's the VP of Meadowbrook Insurance. I don't know that that's really his name. I just made that part up. But it could be. And if it is, then I'm going to have to send them this video, and we're going to have to get a sponsorship kit. No, seriously. And here's the funny thing about that. As I go around the room and say that, as I look around the room while I'm saying it, if somebody knew Tom, or even if someone knew Meadowbrook Insurance, they're going to flinch, right? There's going to be a change in their physiology. And I've witnessed it time and time again. On the flip side, and one of the more interesting things that happens is people will say, gosh, I don't really know anybody at Meadowbrook Insurance, but I know the VP of sales at AAA Insurance. Will that work? Well, yes, it will. I'd be happy to talk to them, right? So you're driving people into a lane that they can actually extrapolate where you might want to go and get permission as to whether or not they want to help you. Now, just because they know the VP of sales at the insurance company doesn't mean they have to give that to you. Now you have to earn it. But the way it's set up, or the way our meetings are set up, is you do that piece up front. And so when somebody hears something where there's a match, then we encourage those people to get together and talk a little bit further to determine whether or not you're going to actually make that introduction.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what, I've got a really long-winded 5-piece blog post on the concept of this ask, and we'll make sure that it's posted in the video.
Good
idea.
idea.
If you want to read a little more about it, you can.
There we go. Perfect. Well, that's a great way to end this. So let's end with an action step. What would be the action step? I'm going to put together the action step because you just said it. Everybody should come up with their 60-minute commercial. They need a 60-second, minute. That would be a little long.
You're not allowed to do a 60-second commercial ever. And you're definitely not doing a 60-minute commercial. That's an infomercial, and you're not there yet.
Long. Yeah, we don't even sit as videos. And you know what? I think people should practice on video.
I don't want their ask being over 20 seconds ever. In an MCC, we don't let people normally go over 15 seconds.
Wow.
The Pledge of Allegiance is 13 seconds long. If you think you need to say more about your business than we need to say about our country, then you got an ego problem.
13 seconds, huh? Wow, that's interesting.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I'm going to test that after.
You're going to be like, go.
I think this is a great tips for people. I think there are so many people out there at these networking events, and I know this is talked about at these networking events too sometimes, but it's always good to refresh it. I know I'm going out next week and meeting a whole bunch of people, and honestly, I haven't done this for a long time. I barely pull out my business cards anymore because I am online. So I'm going to do it for myself too. So, and if you guys do it, feel free to share yours in the group. And I suggest practicing in a video before you even do it, because you know what? You can put that video out there also, and you never know who you will drive traffic to your video.
Put that video on your LinkedIn profile. It's a great tip. It's a good way for people to understand who you are and what you do. And your ask should change, right? It should change, because as you find the people you're looking for, you're going to want to find new people. So my action item for you is to figure out 3 to 5 people who you absolutely need to meet to grow your business, and start incorporating that into your ask.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Terry. You had great material today, and we will include all the information in the show notes. And this is show number 53. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. See you soon.